in licensed stores. Possession is limited to 30 grams of raw cannabis, cannabis-infused product or products containing no more than 500 milligrams of THC, and 5 grams of cannabis product in concentrated form. Non-residents of Illinois would be allowed to possess half of that amount. Expunging criminal records. House Bill 1438 will usher in one of the most sweeping criminal justice revisions as far as expungement goes in recent memory. The governor's clemency process will be used for convictions of up to 30 grams. These expungements will be automatic. For amounts of 30 grams to 500 grams, the clemency process also applies. However, the individual must petition the court to vacate their convictions. In all, around 770,000 cannabis-related records will be eligible for expungement. Equity. The bill also included a social equity program. The program provides benefits directly to those who have suffered from the impact of having cannabis laws enforced. Not only does House Bill 1438 remove convictions through expungement, it specifically provides additional points for business applicants, access to financial resources for startup costs, and resources for communities that were hardest hit during the enforcement of cannabis laws. Home cultivation for patients. Beginning for January 1st, 2020, medical cannabis patients may purchase cannabis seeds and grow up to 5 plants at their residence. There are limitations on home growing, however, including a cap of 5 plants per household, regardless of the number of residents who are 21 or over, and plants will need to be secured and out of the view by the public. Home cultivators can keep what they grow, but possession limits still apply outside the residence, and sales are prohibited unless part of the licensed cannabis business. Now, it should be made clear that in all of the business licensing and provisions of the legalization of recreational cannabis, there is no legal public consumption of cannabis in the state of Illinois. That is not affected by the law. You can't smoke it in public, you can't smoke it on the parkway, you can't smoke it in parks, you can't smoke it in bars unless you have a license to do so, and that is a discussion that Midlothian is having right now. The transitional timeline. October 15, 2019, applications for up to 75 dispensaries will be made available. These new businesses will serve in addition to medical dispensaries that will get approval to serve adult consumers during the transition. So any place in Illinois that now currently has a medical license to dispense will automatically get a license to provide recreational marijuana. January 1st, 2020, sales begin. Existing medical cannabis cultivators and dispensaries will cultivate and provide to adult consumers until additional licenses can apply and get approved. New dispensary license applications will be accepted by this date. January 7th, 2020. Applications for infusers, transporters, and a new category of cultivator called a craft grower will be published for business applicants. Taxes. At the wholesale level, cannabis produced products will be subject to a 7% tax when they are sold by cultivation centers or craft growers. At the retail level, Illinois is taking up a unique approach. Rather than a blanket tax for all the cannabis products, Illinois will charge a tax based upon the relative potency of the cannabis and the type of product. The more concentrated THC is, the higher the tax rate. So 10% tax will apply to cannabis flower or products with less than 35% THC. 20% tax will apply to products infused with cannabis such as edible products. 25% tax will apply to any product with a THC concentration higher than 35%. Generally, a THC concentration of higher than 30% is extraordinary in terms of the common use of marijuana in society in the past. In addition to these scalable tax rates, the state's regular 6.25 sales tax rate applies, along with local taxes of up to 3.5%. So that means, should Midlothian decide that it will allow the recreational sale, the dispensaries of marijuana in Midlothian, it could enact a 3.5% tax on those sales. The range consumers will pay at the register, which does not include the 7% tax levied at wholesale, will be between 19.5% and 34.5% retail tax, depending upon the product's potency. So in general, somewhere between about 20% and 35% of all the revenue generated by the sale of marijuana will be taxed. Revenue distribution, and here's how the state is going to break down the use of the sales tax and other taxes that apply to the sale of recreational marijuana. 2% to public education and safety campaigns, 8% to local government's distribution fund for the prevention and training for law enforcement, 25% to the Recover, Reinvest, and Renew program, 20% to mental health services and substance abuse programs, 10% to pay unpaid bills, and 35% to the general revenue fund. And finally, the most important aspect, which is the subject matter, the most relevant point to the citizens here today, is that a unit of local government, including a home rule unit or any home rule county within the unincorporated territory of the county, may enact ordinance to prohibit or significantly limit a cannabis business establishment location. Voters in any precinct in the city of Chicago will be able to vote their precinct dry. Municipalities may enact reasonable zoning restrictions pertaining to the licensed cultivation centers, craft growers, processing organizations, and dispensaries, and a unit of local government, including a home rule unit or any home rule county that unincorporated territory of that county may regulate the on-premises consumption of cannabis at or in the cannabis business establishment within its jurisdiction in a manner consistent with the Act. A cannabis business establishment or other entity authorized by, permitted by a unit of local government to allow on-site consumption shall not be deemed a public place within the meaning of Smoke-Free Illinois Act. So in other words, the Village of Midlothian is granted the authority to allow on-site consumption. It is also allowed the authority to ban the sale of on-site consumption or to ban the recreational sale of marijuana. That is the authority that has been granted to the village. The village does not have the authority to ban marijuana recreational use in Midlothian. Only that is dispensaries and on-site consumption. And with that, I believe I'll turn it back over to the mayor to hear what you think.
Thank you, sir. I know that's a lot to digest. Again, we can certainly have another one of these public hearings. We'd also are looking into an online survey. Maybe people are afraid to come and be part of the public and say what they have to say. But again, we are here to hear your comments on how you feel about the Village of Midlothian on the sale and or on-site consumption of marijuana, cannabis. Clerk Mosco, was there any correspondence asking for more time to speak?
The clerk's office received no request.
Thank you,
Speak
sir.
longer than 3 minutes.
So we are asking that everyone's comments be kept to 3 minutes so that we can move this along. So I think I'm assuming everyone's here to speak because of the number of people here. So why don't we just start in the first row? Mr. Gully, what would you like to say? Sure, unless you can talk loud.
I'm just here to voice, I'm not claiming to be right or an expert on any of this. I am here to just let you know how this affects me. I have recently, I suffer from psoriatic arthritis in my spine and in my hips and knees and so on and so forth. I have recently been weaned off of opioids and have found that marijuana edibles work for me. And they do, for me personally, everything the opioids did without the addiction problem. I prefer edibles over smoking. And it's just the way I'm going to go. And I would like the village that I've grown up in, now live in, have purchased homes in, that if I'm going to spend my money on this, I would prefer the tax money come to my village. And to put it bluntly, if it's not in my village, my money will be spent elsewhere. And it will be brought home with me. That's just this one man's opinion. It works for me and does everything opioid did for me. And I prefer to go this way rather than stay on opioids for my pain. Thank you.
I agree with Joe. I live with pain every day. I don't sleep at night or any of that because of the pain. If I use marijuana, that pain goes away. I'm able to sleep. I'm able to move around better. And that it helps me. And I'm on opioids, and I want to get off of the opioids. And this is probably going to be the only way. because it does nothing to get worse for me from this point. So, I'm for it.
Ma'am? Anything? No?
We came to listen.
Okay. Sure.
Hi. You need a name? No. All right. I look at this as a business point of view. There are so many empty storefronts here that if you have the right kind of security around, and if you've looked at other states that have this, how those businesses run, you might see that this is a cash-only business because federally, banks are not allowed to do business with a product that is illegal federally. So this is a cash-only business. There's a lot of money floating around here. The security's got to be real tight on these buildings. And with the grow systems, you've got to really have security because of people wanting to break in and steal your product. But with if the security's taken care of, you have a vast number. I think, what do we have on Pulaski? We have 5, 6 empty stores. It's a, opportunity to fill those stores. I don't know, you get more tax money if they're ongoing businesses?
Yes.
Yeah, and, you should go to other states, look into other states, contact other states that have these and find out how it works for them. But I think you got an opportunity to put some business in here. That's about it.
Thank you, sir. Jason?
Hi, but I apologize, last time I spoke to you all, I was very nervous and embarrassed myself. This time, we all know it's coming and it's here, so I agree with him, and I agree with him, and I agree with him. On every single point and then some. Okay, it's business, I've been an advocate of this since I was a junior in high school. And not just because I like using it, but because of the history of it and why it's illegal in the first place. And it's our right to use it. We got 21 liquor licenses in town. Give us one. Give us one cannabis shop or a place to consume. Everybody's going to smoke it in their house and backyards. And, we just left the park. There was people smoking at the park today. Like, and that's fine to me. Some people might be bothered by it or like, oh my God. But it's no different than somebody drinking a beer or having a cocktail. Public consumption, fine. My kids are at the park, I don't need them smelling it, but it's not my business, I don't care. I just had a question as far as, not to be answered now, but we have a liquor commission. Is that going to take over cannabis, or is there going to be a separate cannabis commission, depending on how many businesses we do? Like right now, there's 75 licenses up, 60 of them go to already medical facilities. So they're probably going to stay in the same towns that they're already in, or however that's going to work. That left 15. We were going to try to be one of those when there was 150 up. Now there's only 15. So we are not going to open a store this year, maybe 2021. But for the village to deny it and vote against it is, in my opinion, against our rights to use a legal substance in the safety of our own home or in a facility, I forget how you guys worded it, but a bar, a cannabis bar, let's call it. And then, as these gentlemen pointed out, tax revenue, filling vacant businesses. Even if we got one, great. Because Bozeman's got one, Presswood for sure is going to get one. Oak Forest said no. Let's get one. Why not? 2 or 3. We got how many places you can go in and throw your money away in these gambling machines and drink yourself stupid and stumble home. Let us smoke a little weed, or cannabis. That's all I really have to say. It would be foolish to not say it.
Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
Does your wife want to say something?
You want to say something?
everybody. I just want to say, after listening to these gentlemen, I've been in favor of legalizing marijuana for years, decades. And they brought out all the pertinent points. I'm in favor of it, as long as it's well-regulated and there is decent security. I'm in favor of it, totally. I think it will be a benefit to the village.
Thank you. Sir? Yeah?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Ali. Nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you.
As a kid, I was playing in the parks of Midlothian, and then in my teenage years, there was a restaurant on 147th Cicero. I started working, doing dishes there and everything, and now in the same corner, I actually own a business. It's the smoke shop over there. We sell CBD over there as well. Now, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous when it comes down to public
Please.
speaking.
Relax. We're all friends here.
Now, basically, as far as it goes, I mean, the money in the business is all cool and all, but I mean, I feel like what's more important is what's the benefits from it, as far as whether it's psoriasis or arthritis, or whether it's help benefiting your skin, your heart, your eyes, your bones, your immune system, your nervous system, your digestive system, basically any of that. Will definitely, as long as it's not abused, I feel like we could definitely, benefit from it. A lot more than, like they said, all the other opioids that have addictions, or, can, help you with the pain, but it'll screw up your liver, or your organs, stuff like that. So, that's, just my take on it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Christine?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I so far will be the lone voice, so I appreciate all the wisdom that you all have shared. My heart definitely pours out to you for something that's very personal with respect to pain. I have cared for my mom for many years. She's since passed, for those who may have known, but she had rheumatoid arthritis the majority of her life. So I'm very familiar with a person who has to live with pain. I myself did not have to go through that, but I sense the arthritis coming. But that said, one of the things to recognize is the medical component that is within the marijuana plant has been available for a number of years, legally dispensed through pharmacists for years, through doctors for years, and is properly regulated. Not all of the facilities that are dispensing marijuana are properly taken care of and what's being given to you. We are told many times by legal entities or businesses or governments, this is okay for you. So for those who have struggled with alcohol, the challenges that one's had. But you're told, what? Alcohol isn't addicting to everybody. But there was some point in time and somebody's like, well, they can go, today I'm going to be addicted. Today I'm going to have to live with this. And that impacts their liver. And there's a variety of other things. You hear about Juul right now, or vaping. I can respect those who are trying to have a business in that, but I also feel for the families who, right now you're hearing in the media, they want no candy flavors for Juuls or vaping. But you know what? Does that mean that once you turn 18, all of the impact that you're having on your body just suddenly goes away? No, it does not. So, you have a substance that can help people. Yeah, it is true that can be properly medicated or distributed in ways that it has been done for years. That said, I would also please recognize the cities that already have them. I know in the media it's unpopular to be the lone voice like I am today, but recognize there's, whether it be Denver, Colorado, California, you will see them. If you don't look at the main headline, which says everything's okay and everything's working well, if you go pages deep within the newspaper or listen more closely to the news, you will see tent cities of people just going around these dispensaries or other locations where these items are being sold. And that said, you are seeing many homeless people that are going there. When you get a homeless crowd of people, what types of things are happening there? You think everybody is perfect? No, I'm sorry, crime goes up. maybe the headline's gonna be, it's not impact, I think that's my 3 minutes. But you know what, I feel for our law enforcement who are already experiencing so many challenges in Midlothian and surrounding communities. They're already overloaded and overwhelmed, trying to just keep our communities safe and help homeowners and other children passing by. Please give us a break with respect to this. I understand that there's a need for it, and somebody shared, but there's also many individuals out there who are not in favor of having a dispensary here, and all of the ramifications that come along with it. Yes, it's taxpayer money. That sounds great initially, but you know what? There are many businesses that help people truly from the core that provide wonderful services with no negative ramifications. Let those businesses thrive in our community. So,
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you all for having me today. I am a 12 Bravo combat engineer, active duty Army veteran. I've been home for 6 years. The first 3 years of that 6, I don't remember. The VA has supplied me with medical care in the form of opioids, Valium, Percocet, more than I can list to sleep, to eat, to stay alive. As I was blown up, I had to relearn how to walk. But those medicines which numbed me, which helped because I was in so much pain from the shrapnel that I had taken, I don't remember Christmas, Easter, anything with my family. So once CBD became legal and available in that edible form, much like the gentleman the first 3 who had spoke, I had relief, but I wasn't poisoned so numb that I couldn't remember events with my family. Get back on track. I'm a paralegal student at Southside now. I'm going back to school. I work for the fitness industry in our community. I'm a personal trainer, and I motivate others by saying, if I can relearn how to walk, you can do this. We can lose a couple pounds, we can get faster, we can get stronger. The cannabinoid plant, whether edible, drinkable, smokable, vaporable, has given me my life back. 22 veterans a day kill themselves because they've experienced what I have experienced. So with the most heartfelt understanding, I hear about like, oh, those homeless are coming in this area, but a lot of the homeless are veterans who are just getting numbed and psychologically not taken care of. And the CBD, the marijuana, the weed plant allows that pain relief while maintaining your focus, whereas the opioids just numb you. I was on autopilot. I lost 3 years of my life just to numbness. Now I understand what happened to me, why it happened to me, and I can move forward. I'm so grateful for this panel to hear us. This is a healing medicine. I think it's going to bring revenue to our community. I think it's going to be a great partnership. I stand by it. I fought for the freedom to heal myself with the plant from God. I hope that you guys can see that perspective on the Rubik's Cube as we twist all these perspectives to see that this is something from the earth. It's not made in a lab that has these adverse effects. This was given to us. And like I said, for the first 3 years, I lost my life when I came back. I don't have a single memory because I was so numb. Now I have a medicine that heals the pain, and I know what I'm doing. I'm thriving now as a student and as a professional. I'm back home, and my family is happier. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your service. Anything from you two? Mike? Debbie? No? Okay.
I don't have too much to say. All I can say is agreeing with these guys here. Coming from Route 83 to 147, there's 12 different gambling places. I'm sure you can find some place to open a cannabis shop or two in town, and then at the same time bring more revenue in. That's it.
I was expecting a slightly larger crowd too. Given what I'm hearing, and with 1 or 2 major exceptions, most of our population tonight is required for medical use. You're looking at aging population with chronic pain. Can we restrict sale maybe to edible only? Can we zone out processing? Are there any thoughts going on about distribution centers? I personally would not like to see, because of our alcohol and because of the pawn shops going up and because of the, it kind of doesn't feel good sometimes to look at the types of businesses just to keep businesses on the street. That maybe we can restrict to something people need, keep people employed, bring the tax money in, but kind of stay away from the whole, well, you're processing it and you're helping another town that did make the decision to restrict. Or maybe zone in a particular area where you desperately need the businesses, but restrict the type of distribution. Personally, I'm not in favor of on-site inflation, put it that way. I'm not crazy about when I'm smelling going down my streets now, and I'm not crazy about the reaction time changes you will see with certain cannabis use when you're driving a car. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to reiterate what the attorney said, this act does not allow for public consumption outdoors, on the street, in bars, in beer gardens. This is, it's fairly well restricted to your home and possibly on-site consumption, lounges or whatever we would call it. But we'll have to look into the other aspects that you were talking about. Anything for you? No?
Can I just
Helen?
ask a clarification question? For the dispensary, was that for selling, dispensing only, not growing or manufacturing?
Dispensing.
Just dispensing, okay. So the dispensary would have to get their product from somebody else? They
Correct,
won't be able to
correct.
grow it or make it there?
The
Okay.
state would have to license all of that.
Okay.
Again?
No, I can just clarify that I can almost assure that a growing or manufacturing center is not going to open here because you're talking about square footage in a building that Midlothian doesn't even have.
Okay.
So with on-site consumption or a shop similar to a liquor store, only instead of liquor, it's cannabis, I think that's pretty much what we're going to get, if anything.
All right, you're not the only one to be nervous here.
Oh, come on, you're in every meeting.
I'm nervous. I'm at work with Bill, I'm up there. I guess I'm asthmatic. My wife is asthmatic. We both suffer from arthritis, and my wife is really suffering from arthritis. So the only point I want to make is, A, I support the cannabis in medical form. Extraction, whatever you have to do to get the benefits out of that cannabis. Now you're not going to like this, because I'm asthmatic. I hate smoke. A lot of people hate smoke. I hate people who walk by that smell like smoke. So, if you're smoking cannabis, stay away from it, please. I'm really against the smoking part of it, even if you're at home. Yeah, maybe I could be talked out of that, but the smoking of cannabis equates of drinking alcohol. All right, if you smoke one joint, I'm gonna say joint. What's the time to reduce that to normalcy? Like, equate that to the alcohol. What's the time that equates that to normalcy? Now, we have people out there driving drunk. We're going to see the same thing. People driving into their cannabis. I hope not. But we're going to see it. I could go drive down Cicero Avenue, have my windows open. Guess what I'm smelling? My wife tells me she's standing in the vestibule, and people coming in, contractors, they're smelling like cannabis. Come on, people, give us a break. If you're working, don't smoke the stuff. But my comment is, we need the laws to support. If you're going to smoke,
there's a lead time, don't do anything after that cigarette. You gotta come down, or you gotta go back to normalcy to do like driving. The same thing with alcohol. Any other drugs. Thanks.
George?
My question is, what do these licenses cost? Are we going to restrict them so we don't have 15 establishments in town like we do in gambling?
Well, the state charges $75,000, I think, is the price tag for them. We're pretty confident that the village can charge whatever we want to have the business in town.
Are we going to keep it restricted so we don't have 10 or 15 like we do with gambling licenses right now?
I-
We've done 2 or 3, or maybe, and that's about it?
That'll depend on how we word the ordinance. So that's possible. I mean, just like we have a restriction on how many liquor licenses we can give out, the board would have to approve new liquor licenses. It could be the same
We had
thing.
increased it by one for another license too, if I remember correctly.
So you're for or against it?
I'm
Keeping
for-
tabs.
I'm for keeping cannabis because my daughter needs it all the time. She's got neuropathy. It helps her out with that. I'm for it. I just wonder if we're going to restrict how many establishments we have. Because we don't have all over town like we do with the gambling licenses. Otherwise, the pie gets a lot smaller like we do with gambling.
Young man? No? You got paper and a pencil and?
So when you suspect somebody of being impaired drinking, there's a blood alcohol test.
Correct.
Is there anything like that for cannabis if you suspect somebody of being shown while they're driving?
Yes, so field sobriety test that we have to do now would be exclusive to just observations, and then we'd have to take them for a urine sample. And unfortunately, the crime lab, because they're behind the legislatures with this, right now they only do for testing for the presence of it, where the legislation now is for quantitative amounts. So they can test for quantitative amounts, and that will determine whether they're DUI or not, because it could stay in your system for up to 30 days. So we now have to contract an independent crime lab for roughly about $1,000 a case to prosecute these. Because the state put the cart before the horse, just like Colorado.
Did you have a follow-up?
I do. You want me to stand there?
Please, stay seated.
Just on some of the items I've said, and I'm not going to say I'm right, and I'm not saying anybody here is wrong. Everybody has their own feelings, and from my point of view on the cash-only thing, and I don't want everyone to think I fly around the country buying gummies and everything. But Nevada is a credit card operation, and Colorado is a cash-only state. Them are the only two states I know about. But Michigan's getting ready to start up. Illinois is getting ready to start up. We're going to be surrounded. Indiana's going to fall right into place. I do it myself at night. I go with my pain all day. I get to the point where I can't get up out of my chair at night, or I can't walk straight or upright. And like I said, I prefer to do edibles. I do my edible, takes approximately an hour for it to do its thing, and I am absolutely pain-free within an hour, hour and 15 minutes. I know when you buy it from other places, every bottle you buy is sealed. It tells you what's in every gummy. It tells you the amount of THC in the gummy. It tells you what the other additives are in the gummy. Or chocolate chip cookies, or whatever it is you decide you want to buy. And I don't smoke a lot, but I know that when you do, it happens fast, which at times is a good thing for me. And I'm not embarrassed by this because I can walk after I do mine. And walking's a good thing, at least that's what my wife tells me. And I can do it without pain, and I can sleep, and a whole night's sleep is well worth. And when I take mine, I don't leave the home. I do not leave my home. I've made that promise to myself. I will not drive, I will not walk, I will not drink. Once I take it, I'm home. Will everyone else do the same? Probably not. But that's just one man speaking his mind.
So those,
He knows right where I live.
yes, he does. So again, we'll keep talking about this. So those that are smoking in public now are doing it illegally, and they will continue to be doing it illegally after January 1st. It does not allow for the public use. So you're allowed, if you're caught with 30 grams, you're allowed to have it 30 grams on you, but you are not allowed to consume it in public. One more time, yes.
One more time. Talking about if you legalize it, people are going to all of a sudden start smoking it. I doubt you're going to get a rise in consumption percentage in the public. People have been doing this for 50 years now. And people are doing it 50 years ago, some are still doing it. What a big thing about legalization, and 21 CH?
21.
21 CH. You could probably attest to this, that one of the easiest places to get marijuana is in high schools. It's all over. To take it out of the black market and put it into restricted areas at an age of 21, you'll find it probably harder to get in school. So you'll take it out of that stream. It's kind of like we used to have, anybody remembers when you used to have cigarettes? You could go into any place and buy a pack of cigarettes. When you restrict them, when you put it behind a counter and you put an age limit on it, use goes down among minors. So this can only be a good thing, legalizing it and setting an age limit for use, and they'll still use it, but they find it harder to get. It's easier to get marijuana in high school than it is to get alcohol or cigarettes because they're restricted.
Trustee Ivan, do you have anything to say?
I'm just here to listen.
Trustee Kreis?
I'm just here to listen.
Trustee Cabot?
Here to listen.
Kelly? Crowley?
Here to listen to.
Any correspondence from the public?
We have received no correspondence.
It can't go that quick.
And listen to that. Very few things are going to change, as many people have said. The same people that are using it are going to keep using it. Okay? Only now they're going to do it legally. It'll give you and your police officers one less thing to worry about because, I think we can sit down and talk anytime, buddy. I mean, we can go back and forth.
Chief, not buddy.
Sorry. My apologies. Sincerely.
Did you talk to the people in Colorado about that, or because they're not feeling the same way?
No, I've done a lot of research. We can talk anytime, Chief.
Yeah, not here.
Okay. As far as, worried about people driving, people have been driving already. I mean, you know that. How many people have you pulled over? That's not going to change. Just because it's going to be legally in a store, the only thing that's going to change is we're going to see some revenue from it. And I agree with what you said, is that once it's legal, those minors, the cool, it's illegal, and we're going to do this, it loses its appeal. And that's a fact. You can Google it, you can Google it, you can Google it. In states that have legalized cannabis, underage use has gone down. That's a fact, okay? And then as far as smelling it on people, that's not going to change. It's not going to change that I smell people's awful cologne and perfume anymore. I mean, I've been more offended by some people's cologne or perfume walking into numerous locations, including the lobby of Village Hall. And that's no more offensive than cannabis.
Can I say
Sure.
I'm in a strange position, I'm in Tyler right now. So about 4 years ago, when I moved here, I don't know if he was an officer at the time, but I had a very bad drinking problem, and I was arrested by Midlothian police. Not a this moment, not awesome. Thankfully, my kids will not know me as that person. I do not use cannabis on a regular basis, but when things are hectic, having 2 small children, where most moms, it's perfectly acceptable to have a glass of wine. Having a glass of wine and having a glass of wine. Oh, I just drank a whole bottle of wine and let me post that on social media and everybody applauds. I can't do that. It's not something that, I might as well be allergic to it. So in response to that, every once in a while, I will use a vape pen. They're not the same ones that I'm hearing about in the media at all. Those are the fake ones that are using vitamin E acetate. They're not the same thing at all. When you suggested the homeless population, as I believe he said, the homeless people are veterans. Like, I've always kind of homeless people. I lived in Los Angeles. There's 7 million homeless people there, and I was kind to them there too. I would much rather have a homeless stoner than watch somebody nodding out in the room. I have heroin addicts in my family. They say weed is a gateway drug. I have never done anything but drink way too much alcohol and smoke pot. I've never tried another drug in my entire life. It's not worth it. If you can help something like him, if you're seeing that it's helping all of these people, I don't understand how that can be wrong. That just doesn't make sense to me. I can kind of see from a policing aspect, it's got to be very difficult to figure out how impaired somebody is. And I guess the only thing I can think of is like, when you drive high, most of the time you play the game of like, is that a cop or a bike wreck? And you're super, super cautious anyways, sitting at stop signs for too long. I'm not saying that anybody should be able to do it, but driving drunk is like 7 million times worse. And guarantee that you are going to harm somebody every single time, whereas most of the time you're super cautious if you told the whole lot. And something can happen and boom, you're not high anymore because you lost it. So I just don't get, obviously I don't want my kids around it. I don't put them in danger of that, but if everybody can have a bottle or a glass of wine to ease their nerves from being a parent all day, then sure shit should be able to smoke a joint or have a little bit of a medical or do whatever it is that calms you down and makes you feel like a better person.
Thank you. All right.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the statistics on people having accidents under the influence of,
We'd have to research that. We don't.
I would say high probably.
No idea.
I can answer that.
Okay.
It's quite resourceful.
In states that have legalized cannabis, the use of cannabis during an accident has gone up. It also went up when we repealed prohibition of alcohol. Before 1938, none of this would have ever been a discussion because it would have never been illegal in the first place. But obviously, yes, when people are going to use a drug, it is going to go up, and that's just, in my defense, I would call it a sad fact, but it is a fact and I don't deny it. It is going to go up.
No. This board will take in consideration, we will talk to our chief of police and let them.
What's the difference between smoking and using for your pain? What's the difference?
Well, if it intoxicates you, other than CBD, it's going to have an effect. So it's just like anything else. When you have more than 2 beers, don't drive home. If you feel intoxicated from cannabis, don't drive home.
Some of those hospitals give them immediately.
Well, they do.
And it's occurring.
And without the intoxicating effect, which again is CBD or something used for medical purposes.
And smoking and driving is,
It is foolish.
Well, that's what I
Same like somebody said earlier, smoking and then going to work, especially if you work with heavy machinery, it's a foolish choice. But when I get home from work, instead of having a cold beer, a glass of wine, or a cocktail, I enjoy to use a little cannabis.
Okay.
Mayor, our social media, we have approximately 6 people watching this live. 2 have expressed a positive response. To the sale and getting the tax revenue. The other people have not commented as such at this point in time.
So, like we started off, I mean, we'll close this here pretty soon, because, I don't know, maybe people are at home ready to watch the Bears game beat Washington. But, you know, I don't know if it's, people don't feel comfortable talking about this in public. It's had a stigma on it for many years, I guess, but I think this board would like to make a decision. We need to make a decision before the end of the year. I'd like to make it November, December, so we have time to hold another one of these. Again, maybe we can make it later. I don't know if that's a factor. You know, has anyone got an opinion on the time of the meeting? Is not when the Bears play. Don't what?
What's the chance of sending out some kind of postcard or flyer to all residents, letting them know about it? Is it just in the messenger?
We used the messenger, and then we tried to use social media quite a bit. We've gotten a lot of traction with our social media. I started to believe there wasn't going to be a lot of people here tonight because we weren't getting a lot of feedback on social media. Typically, when we do get a lot of feedback on social media, the place is packed. So, you know, we can look into that. It's it's expensive, but you know, like I said, maybe we can put together an online survey with SurveyMonkey or something and try to get more input. Although you express your opinion tonight, you can't do it on the survey, I'm going to say.
Question I have, is this an autonomous decision of you guys, or is it something that's voted on in the village?
It'll have to be up to the board, because there'll be no time to get it on the ballot before it goes into effect January 1st. The next election is April, May, or March for the primary.
Is there any reason why you can't set up a special election for it or anything?
We'd have to go through the county. The county would have to agree to it, and it's very expensive to have one town just do one election on one item. It'd be very, very expensive to print the ballots just for one thing. We'll try to have another public hearing, and we'll see how it goes. But I want to thank you all for coming out tonight and expressing your opinions, and I want to thank all of you that served in the military. Thank you so much for your service, and we'll keep you in the loop. Thank you all so much. Hearing's closed. Hearing's closed at 6:51.